Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Ball Don't Lie. It's been a while. It has been a while. I think it's been like around a month, damn near. This
Damn
is
near.
episode 171. Your boys Scott and Dante here. Like I said on the last podcast we did, if you were watching this video right now and you were watching Sitting with the Guys, no, we did not record this on 2 different days. We did this on the same day, so we are not dusty niggas who wear the same clothes every day. Just wanted to get that out right there. But you know the follow us on Twitter at Barberchair Scott at October Zone Tay. Follow the Barbershare Network at BarberShareNet on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/BarberShare Network. Visit the BCNet.com. I will be back when I'm not going to hold you this week. Took a little break last week because it was All-Star break. There really wasn't nothing to talk about. So I will be back this week talking about the NBA, talking about some off-season stuff in the NFL and the beginning of baseball. I have some thoughts on the pitch clock that I'm going to get off this week. But
Shit's ass.
I
But
love it. I love it.
I
I love it.
hate that shit.
I love it so much. I'm not trying to
You
be.
say
I'm not
that
trying to
now.
watch.
Wait till you say that now. Wait till the ninth inning. Motherfuckers need a big hit. A motherfucker want to take a few extra seconds to get itself together. Strike three, automatic. I'm ready to send that bitch up.
Hey
I'm
man,
telling you, it's gonna
look.
go left. It's gonna go left.
Hey
I think
man,
it'll
look.
level out, but this first few weeks
It'll
of the
level
season,
out. The
it's
first
gonna be
couple weeks is gonna
sketched.
be nasty. This White Sox team's gonna have enough games. They're gonna lose by their own damn self.
Oh, but they're gonna be
Uh,
beat. We're gonna be getting blown out. We're not worried about that.
you really down on this thing.
Boy, them niggas is gonna be terrible. I
I
don't know
don't see
why.
it.
I
I
don't
do
know
not
what
see
y'all are
it.
expecting.
I'm
Like,
not. I don't think they're gonna be great, but I don't see it.
I think one thing that's gonna set us into reality is the fact that it's a balanced schedule. You're not playing the AL Central 96
Yeah,
times this year, my
that's
nigga.
fine. That's fine.
Like,
They play better against everybody non AL Central, which is
we finna
weird.
get our brains beat in. This shit about to be terrible.
We'll talk
Wait till
about
we do
that.
this pod. Right. Let's go say that. We're gonna say that because I got some shit to say. we gonna say that. We ain't gonna talk about the White Sox today.
We gonna get on that on He Gone. We're gonna be doing a season preview episode like probably like in 2 weeks,
Okay.
right before the season starts. Cause I'm don't get me wrong, I don't think they're gonna be great, but I'm not as down on them as you and Mikey are. But I'm also an optimist, so keep that in mind. I'm also an
Yeah,
optimist,
yeah, I
and
give you that.
I am a stupid Chicago sports. Let's keep that in mind also.
Yeah,
But
I let that go a long time ago.
we're here to talk about basketball, man. In the last couple weeks since we've been on here, it's been a lot of trades. We had a god awful All-Star game, but we are in the final stretch. We like most teams have 21, 22 games left on the schedule. We're starting to see seed positioning. This is the first weekend where I feel like we've had competitive basketball ever. So in this year. But I just want to get your opinion on this because I have ranted on this on Summer Sessions. I've ranted on this on my Twitter account, and I'm gonna rant on this on I'm Not Gonna Hold You this week. All the scoring that we've been seeing. This past weekend, we saw a double overtime game with a final score of 176 to 175. In that game, we saw Malik Monk have 45, which we should never ever see in the history of ever. We have had our second 71-point performance in the last 7 weeks. Like our second, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
no disrespect to Dame. Dame is a bucket getter. He is all he. I think there's only like 3 people who have more 60-point games than him. That is Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Wilt Chamberlain. So he's an elite company. I give him a pass because that's what Dame does. I respect his 71 way more than I respect Donovan Mitchell. But the point is, we're seeing ungodly stats every week. What is your thoughts on not just the scoring barrage, but the overall state of the NBA right now?
I think it's analytics on steroids. I think when you have an emphasis on being as efficient as possible, when you actually have your nights where that works, you get these type of numbers. Like I think Dame was like 13 for 21 from three or some nut shit. Like you have a guy who can shoot at that high of a clip, and when you're only taking threes or shots at the bucket, like you still like don't get me wrong, the mid range game isn't as dead as we try to make it seem. You still have guys who get buckets in the mid range, but with the emphasis on being as efficient as possible, you have these nights where if a guy gets hot, because we are dealing with the best athletes in the world in terms of basketball players, when a guy gets hot, he can put up 60 when there's no hand checking, no physical defense, when there's more of a penalty for being physical as opposed to getting buckets. Like this is, you know, David Stern's baby growing up. Like he wanted an entertaining league where people were running, jumping higher, you know what I'm saying, putting buckets on the board. Like don't get me wrong, in the playoffs, we will have our defensive matchups. But I think more than anything, this is what they want. It's entertaining, you know what I'm saying? It's fast paced, every team essentially is putting up same numbers as this fucking Showtime Lakers, which is insane. But it's because we do, like I said, 3-pointers, shot at the basket. There's such an emphasis on being as efficient as possible. So you're gonna have those dead clock is right twice a day type of moments where a team like fucking I don't even know, a trash ass team like San Antonio score 146 points or some shit like that. Like why? Like why is that happening?
I mean, niggas put up 140 a night on the fucking Rockets.
Yeah,
which is who Dame got a 71 on.
Oh, that shit is a joke. Like at this point, but like you said, I think just overall, it's a result of what we've been being pushed toward since the Jordan era, where it's just more of an emphasis on offense and scoring, and like you borderline get penalized for playing defense, like tough defense.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a step further with it. I think the NBA product is stepped on, man. This is like that scene in The Wire where D'Angelo told String, "Shit is weak, man." And they saying our shit weak, and then and String is like, "All the shit is, man. Shit gets weaker. We gonna sell it." This is what the NBA is right now.
Yeah,
Honestly, this is what Adam Silver wants it to be like. He is pro player, and I am pro player 98% of the time when it comes to sports. But we need to draw a goddamn line in the sand with all this shit. Like I've ran it multiple times. I'm not gonna rant again on how I feel like lower management is a cancer. That shit needs to stop. And like you said, I think the playoffs will be very entertaining. I think the last two postseasons we've had since that government experiment known as the bubble have been very, very competitive. I enjoyed last year. I enjoyed 2021, and I think we got some wars on deck for this year's playoffs. But it shouldn't have to take to game 60 for us to get some competitive hoops. And I'm not saying that every night's got to be competitive, that every game's got to mean something. It's an 82 game season. It's not going to be like the NFL or college
right.
football or even college basketball where there's more meaningful games. No, there's not as many. But baseball has the same problem. It's 162 games. But even in baseball, you might get you a real important 3-game set in
Yeah,
like June. You know what I'm saying? And you never have to worry about the competitive balance lacking. I feel like these guys, the thing that pissed me off about the All-Star game, we didn't have a chance to talk about that on here, was if you look at the guys who made it, all the first timers, the Shea Gilders Alexanders, this is not John Moran's first time, but he's a couple of them, these guys that they're not giving a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And the problem with that is, and yes, I know for all y'all, this is an exhibition game. How much you want? I'm not expecting every All-Star game to be competitive. But we didn't even get the last 5 minutes that usually wore this year. We didn't get none of that shit. I
yeah,
never seen a 55-point game that looked like absolute bullshit like Jason Tatum's did in
yeah.
the All-Star game.
It was a glorified shoot around,
Yeah.
like, and that's my thing. Like, obviously, I mean, we know why. It's the money, it's the risk of injury, and all of that. Even though the whole risk of injury thing, in my opinion, is overstated, because if you remember back in the day, players they played hard the whole game and nobody got hurt. Like, when the last time you remember a serious injury in an All-Star game?
Exactly. And and people are like, well, you stuck in the past. We ain't stuck in the past. Go to 3 years ago in
Yeah.
Chicago. That was a great All-Star game.
Yeah, like it's just the competition. Like the same, we've seen them go harder in fucking pro am games in the summer league. Like we've seen games with
Thank
the
you.
Drew. We've seen
Thank
games with
you.
the Drew where niggas play harder. And like, don't get me wrong, we want to see you throw it off the backboard, do all that. But that, like, it was certain plays where it was just legit. The other 8 players will walk to the other side of the court and let them do 1-on-1. It's like, bro, don't nobody want to fucking watch this shit.
Yeah, man.
Like,
It was terrible.
so,
It
yeah,
was
so that
terrible.
shit was bad. Like, this was the first year. Like, I nodded off in the first quarter. G, when I woke up, I just turned the channel. Like, I wasn't
I
even
turned it off at
interested
halftime.
at any point in that All-Star game. That shit was, this whole weekend was ass, and like, not even because it was just in Salt Lake. It was just, like you said, the product overall. This it was disappointing.
And I really don't be trying to old head this shit because I don't want to. I'm not having revisionist history. Let me be real with you. 2000s basketball, in the early 2000s was not pleasing. Like I'm not saying I want the 76, 72 final scores again. I'm not saying that shit. But the one thing I got from that era in the 90s era was niggas played hard every night. And if you're legitimately sick, and I don't want to blame 100% the players, 'cause I know a lot of this shit is team issue with teams forcing the load management. So I don't want to put it 100% on the players, but there's got to be a way to stop it. Like I said, me and you, we've been blessed to go to a lot of sporting events. Me and you, we follow sports, so I know maybe I should check the injury report before I decide to go into Los Angeles traffic to go see a Laker game or cover a Clipper game. But the average fan, if they're taking their kid to a game, an average American, if you've seen the stats lately, even a lot of six-figure making people are living paycheck to paycheck. And these games keep getting pricier and pricier. So let's just say you were able to get a day off, you're able to take your kid to a game, on a school night. You want to go see the Lakers, and you kind of find out LeBron ain't playing, or you go to a Clipper game, Kawhi ain't playing. You go to Dallas, Luka ain't playing, and the whole shit is ruined. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you're legitimately hurt, cool. But a lot of these dudes don't be hurt like that, bro. And you're getting paid too much money to be sitting out these games. I just feel like the game is in a bad spot. And I'm not saying that just because I'm being older. I'm gonna keep saying that. But there's a way that you can protect the players and still be entertaining. The NFL does it very, very fucking well. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't like the pass interference shit. We don't like the roughing the quarterback shit. But for the most part, the games are still competitive. Like, all I'm asking is for the players to give a fuck. It shouldn't get to this point of the season where, we had a real competitive weekend of basketball because we only got fucking 6 weeks left. It shouldn't take all that, man. And I'm the league that I used to love, I feel like it's going in the wrong direction. And on top of that, I don't know if you saw the reports today. We all know about the little mid-season tournament that Adam Silver's trying to bring. But now Adam Silver is trying to maybe have a target score for overtimes. So we don't have the 2 overtime thing we had this Friday, and players are playing 48, 50 minutes. First of all, very rarely do we have that many overtimes. So this is not like a weekly fucking thing. And the average salary, the average yearly salary in the NBA is $10 million. Give me a fucking break. You had to play a little over. Whooped it. You making generational wealth in a year. Miss the fuck out of me, man.
Yeah, I think it's getting a bit excessive, and like it goes back to don't get me wrong, it is a product. You want your players to be as fresh as possible for the product you trying to sell. At some point, you have to be cognizant of the fact that you have people who spend a shitload of money to come to these games, and then they'll pull up and their player that guy isn't playing, like you said. And I know the term load management gets used a lot and thrown around, but like I think people forget, like, Kawhi really has a degenerative knee. Like, it's not like he's just sitting out for the sake of sitting out. Like, if he plays too much on his knee, he has issues with it. This is something that's going to be lingering for the rest of his career. It's not something that's just going to go away. So, like, with guys like Kawhi, I don't have a problem with it. But like, if it's just I'm just taking the night off. Like,
You niggas
that's
like Shea Gilders talking about, well, if you give incentives to play in the All-Star, the fuck out of here. You don't
he
like
said
you.
that
Yeah,
with
he
that
said
Joe
that.
Namath ass coat on.
No,
Like,
with
I was
that,
like,
with
come
that,
on,
with
bro.
that R. Kelly ass TP2.com ass Cody had on. Like,
It's
bro,
like,
get the fuck
bro,
out of here, man. And I like Shay a lot, but nigga, please.
yeah. At some point, the whole money talk shit. It's like, all right, bro, just you got money. Like, come on, bro,
You're making enough, dog.
just don't go. Don't go to the All Star game. Cancel that shit. Like, have a little skills competition and let everybody else just have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah,
And
man.
we're gonna do this dumb shit.
That's pretty much how I feel about it, man. I will rant more on this, and I'm not gonna hold you. So look out for that. If you listened to Summer Sessions last week, we had a great talk on that. Great. So I will go check that out if you haven't had it. But let's get to some hoops, man. The Boston Celtics, people. The Boston Celtics right now are number one in the Eastern Conference, and now number one in the entire league at 44-17. Now, at the time that we were recording this, is Monday night, and they are currently losing to the New York Knicks 49-41. Jaylen Brown is not playing because of personal issues. So they might win this. They're gonna win this game. It's fucking Knicks. They'll find a way back. But Celtics got a big win this past weekend over the Milwaukee Bucks. Not the Milwaukee, but the Philadelphia 76ers. My fault. A game that Jason Tatum did not play well in. I had my Jason Tatum slander tweeting it out, but he hit a big time three that won the game for him. They got lucky that there was no more time left because that ridiculous shot that Embiid made. But everything we've seen from the Celtics, they made a pretty smooth transition from Ime Udoka to what's my man name? I had the name the new coach. Um,
Celtics head coach.
so
I ain't gonna fuck his name up.
Joe Mazzulla, that's his name. It was escaping me, but it's been a smooth transition. This is a real deep basketball team right now. Even they've had wins. Without Jason Tatum, without Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams has been in and out of the lineup. They've done pretty good. My question to you is: should this team be the entire league favorite right now?
I think so. I think so. I think, this is one of those teams. We talk about teams who don't go through the fire, or we say, well, they need to just experience, have that playoff heartbreak, and then we'll see them take off. And like, I think Boston is one of those teams where we've seen that. We've seen them get close in the playoffs and lose. We've seen them have the expectations to win and get their ass beat. So I think when you have players like Tatum and Brown as your anchors, and you really got to shout out the coach, because like you said, with the whole Ime situation, when that happened, we really didn't know what this team was going to be. Everybody was kind of, because so much of the praise was heaped on him last season, for the defensive turnaround and everything he did as a head coach. And it was like, okay, this is what this team is going to be. And then, the proverbial rug is pulled from under them with all this shit that happened. And you got an interim head coach, but they never missed a beat, bro. So I think that speaks to Tatum and Brown. I know I call him cosplay Kobe a lot, but
Because he is.
I like Jason Tatum though, and I think this is a team that the Bucks are still the Bucks. Like, let's be clear, the Bucks are a fucking problem. They've won 10 straight, but
14 straight.
oh shit, okay, well yeah, we got to see what Giannis's injury is hitting on. I don't think it's major,
No, it's day
but
to day.
I think this is a team. The cream of the crop in the East is Boston and Milwaukee. I think hands down.
Yeah, I definitely think they should be the favorite. They're a real deep team. Like I said, they experienced that loss. I'm not mad at people picking them. I'm still saying, like you just mentioned, full strength, fully healthy. I'm taking the Milwaukee Bucks. Not only am I taking Milwaukee Bucks out the East, I'm taking Milwaukee Bucks to win the whole goddamn thing if full strength. Giannis is the best player in basketball. They've got a deep team. Last year when they lost to Boston, and we're not going to blame injuries because injuries happen. You play who you play,
Thanks.
but they did not have Chris Middleton. They did not have Chris Middleton in that series. They have Chris Middleton back. Drew Holiday. I think we got to start looking at Drew as one of the best trades of the last couple of years. He's a defensive stalwart. He's been good offensively. He helped them win the championship 2 years, and he was hooping this past weekend when they played Phoenix. He did a great job on Devin Booker. He had 33 points. And just look at the bench. Bobby Portis is back. Joe Ingles was a
Double
good
double.
pickup. Double. And then I really love the Jay Crowder pickup. I love the Jay Crowder pickup. He made some big threes on Sunday. I think it's the team. Not a Jay Crowder guy, not a big boss man 99 guy.
I've said we've had this conversation very, very, very many times. That's probably my least favorite player in the National Basketball Association, and it's not because he's bad. Like, he's not bad. It's just
I understand why. He's Jay Crowder.
But I'm gonna say Ja Morant's probably the only nigga with dreads I want to see play basketball. Like, anytime you see somebody with locks hooping, they always on some Kenneth Fareed shit, and I just don't want to see that on the fucking court. Like, Jay Crowder, he be talking like he's motherfucking Scottie Pippen, and I be like, bro,
he held out like he was Scottie Pippen too.
I'm like, okay, bro, you got it, got it. But no, it's a good pickup though. I will say that I will put my hate aside to say that's a good pickup for them. That's a very good pickup.
He fills in perfectly from when they lost PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker was a big part of their championship team. I think and I'm not a Jay Crowder guy either. Let's be very clear. From a basketball fit, it makes sense. I just think that yes, the Celtics should be the favorite for sure. They're the defending East Conference champions. But I still got question marks on come playoff time. I always say you never want to be in the game 7 when the other team has the best player. And the Bucks will have the best player on planet Earth. And Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think this race to get the number 1 seed is something to watch over these next couple of weeks. The Celtics are only a half game behind. I'm a half game in front. And if they lose this game to the Knicks, Milwaukee Bucks will be the number 1 seed. So they might be the number 1 seed by the time you read this if the Knicks are able to hold on. But I don't know if they play anymore for the rest of the season. I got to look at the schedule, but this is going to come down to the wire. I really feel like home court advantage will be very important. As great as Giannis is, great as this team is, you do not want a game 7 in Boston Garden. You want that shit to be at the crib in Milwaukee. So I have no problem with them being favorites, but I still think at full strength, Milwaukee is who I'm rolling with. But two things for me when the playoff starts, I'm going to be looking at. Jason Tatum has to shine brighter when the lights are on. And I know a lot of people look at me like that's blasphemous, but you've really been paying attention to the games. If you really watched last year's postseason, he did not have a great postseason. He had 100 fucking turnovers, the most in NBA history by a single player in the postseason. You cannot have a great postseason with 100 fucking turnovers. He was god awful in the NBA Finals, so I need him to be the guy who I think he is capable of being. And also, Joe Mazzulla, he's got to make the right moves. Coaching matters in the playoffs. So those are the two things that I am looking at. So yeah, I think they're the favorite, but I still roll Milwaukee, man. Let's go to another Eastern Conference topic. Actually, Eastern Conference and West Conference topic. The MVP debate. We're in a great MVP debate this year. I'm watching the Sixers game right now. Joel Embiid is having another great game. Joel has been hooping. But I also watched Nikola Jokic last night against the Los Angeles Clippers. And he gave a 40, 17, and 10 performance. He is on course to be the third player in NBA history to average a triple-double. He would be the first non-guard in NBA history to average a triple-double. I just want to give some love to Russell Westbrook real quick because the nigga Russ did it twice.
Yes.
Like
after we didn't see it for 50 years, he said, "Let me go back to back."
The nigga did it twice. Okay, so I gotta give some love to Russ. And I'm gonna give some more love to Russ later on in this episode. But what he's doing is incredible. Now you have the numbers in front of you before I go on my tangent. Can you give us the numbers of Embiid and Jokic?
Joel Embiid is averaging 33 points, 33.1 points, 10.4 rebounds, 4.1 assists on 53% shooting. Meanwhile, the Joker is averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists on 63% shooting. So 82% from the free throw line.
That's a big stat right there. Right there. So really, Joel has them on the point score, but also I feel like Joker has a better supporting cast around him than Embiid does. Now, the question here, I think he does. I believe in you know I don't fuck with Jamal Murray at all, but that just shows you how much I don't believe in James Harden and motherfucking Tobias Harris.
But who even still, who on Denver is better than James Harden?
Not better, but I feel like they complement each other better than James Harden.
Because the thing with James is that he is versatile, whether you like him or not. I know sometimes his game is not aesthetically pleasing, but I mean he can be what the Sixers need him to be. So like I think like
though he has got to do it in the playoffs. We've been here every year with James Harden, even when he was MVP.
We've been in the same spot for the 7 years with this nigga.
But one thing we can agree on is they for sure have the better coach.
Who? Mike Malone?
Yes,
Michael
sure.
Michael Malone. He don't like being called Mike. Michael
Malone. Doc Rivers would be coaching in Istanbul if it wasn't for Kevin Garnett. Let's be very clear. All right, like let's be very.
Doc has a very checkered history, man. Like we want to give him their props because Philly has been on the road, but we know. We
just mentioned the two teams. Nobody's worried about them niggas against Milwaukee and Boston. And I'll be real. Right. You could sell me on Cleveland beating them niggas. Yeah, you could sell me on that. So I feel like in this debate, yes, I would love to see Embiid get the MVP. I think it would be great. I don't think this race is done by any stretch of the means. But in order, I believe for Embiid to win this MVP, they got to finish top two, which means you got to leap a Boston or a Milwaukee with like 5 weeks left. I just don't think that's possible. While you've got Jokic not only putting up these ridiculous numbers, he's probably going to average a triple-double. They are running away with the Western Conference. Like everything else in the West is like a game or two apart. These niggas are running away. They got like a 7-game lead on Memphis. So I think with the stats, with the record, because and for those you say, well, it shouldn't be based on record. Yeah, it shouldn't, but that's how they vote, and that's how they've always voted. And for those of you say, well, he hasn't done nothing in the playoffs, I agree with you. Jokic has a lot to prove come postseason. But this is a regular season award. I think we got to keep putting emphasis on that. This is a regular season award. And I think this is going to go to Jokic, and he's going to tie Larry Legend for 3 in a row.
I agree, but I think that's also overstated the whole he got to do something in the playoffs thing. Because I think before,
he hasn't had his crew since the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, before that, they have been to a game 7 in every series they ever played in, that's like every playoff series. So it's like they another one of those teams that have been taking their licks, building. You saw them he was the 6th seed the first time they won the MVP, and they were like 3rd or 4th last year, and now here
They
you
got
are.
swept by somebody like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and now you about to take the 1 seed. So I mean, like you said, you got a lot of people who want to trash Joker, and we still got that whole he white thing that people do.
Oh,
But like,
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
like he's a fucking monster, bro. He be hooping his ass off out there getting beat up. Like they showed a picture of all the scratches on
His
his arms
arm,
and
dog.
shit.
He be cutting himself.
Yeah, he's a self-harmer. I'm like, is this nigga okay? Like, but like just the abuse he takes on a regular basis with his size, and he's still, like you said, averaging a triple-double from the center spot. It was one thing to see Russ do it. Yeah. And even with that, we had to, stand him, had to finesse it a little bit and slide out the way. Let the nigga rebounds and shit.
Oh, there was a little stat pattern going on there. But
yeah, but you see Joker, he's not getting cheap 10, 11, and 12 triple doubles. He's going 35, 16, and 14 type shit.
Yeah.
So I think without a doubt it's gonna go to Joker. I think it's unfortunate for Embiid that he's been running like this, and he's in a situation where he's going against a guy who's really a beast. But I gotta go with the Joker. Triple double from the center spot, no.
Yeah, and I love watching Jokic play. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, a lot of niggas, and what I mean by niggas, I mean niggas hate on Jokic because he's white. Let's just keep it a buck, because he's white. That's really what it comes down to. But this white boy can hoop. All right, he can fucking hoop. And like JJ Redick said, I don't understand how you don't enjoy watching him. Like, I was in awe of the passes he was making last night. I was just like, there was a part like the last 2 minutes where him and Kawhi were going bucket for bucket. And I got to give love to Kawhi, too. Kawhi has been hooping, and he's showing niggas that when healthy, this guy is still lethal. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get to the Clippers in a minute. I got to take on them. But there was a period in the last couple minutes of that game where Kawhi hits a fadeaway. Jokic hits a fadeaway. There was nothing you could do with this nigga. And it's the same thing with Embiid. When Embiid getting his bag, there's nothing you can do to stop Embiid because he's going to the free throw line too. I was at the game when the Sixers played the Clippers, and Zubac had nothing for this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And Plumlee played a good game last night, was getting put in the post time after time on Jokic. So both of these guys are hooping. It's just unfortunate you got a guy in Jokic who I believe is the second best player in the league after Giannis. And it just is what it is. If they had a better record, I think they'd give it to him. But it is good to see two big men compete for the MVP because I feel like we haven't had this long.
Yeah, and it shows it's a further proof of the evolution of the big man, because for so long we've had people saying that the center is a dying position. Even to the point where the All-Star game they don't even put centers on the fucking ballot.
They just put front court, which is
front court and back court, which is terrible. But you see the versatility. Like, we've seen Embiid grab a rebound and go coast to coast. Like, the things that, we always talk about the evolution of the game, the things that when Shaq was doing them, it was like, oh, shit, this big motherfucker just did that. And now you see every big man is trying to have that in their game. I'm not saying everybody can do it, but the elite, when you look at Embiid, when you look at Joker, when you look at before he got hurt, Boogie Cousins, you look at AD, you know what I'm saying? These aren't your typical big man where it's just, I got a post game and I'm going to get rebounds and play defense. No, they could do it all.
Yep. And I also think Mark Jackson said, I think it was Saturday during the game against the Celtics, he said that Jokic and Embiid were top 10 centers all the time. And I paused for a minute and I actually sat and thought about it. I don't think that's a controversial take.
No, it's very I say this as somebody because I feel like we took the toll term and give people their flowers while they can still smell them, and we ran with that shit. And now our generation, we call everybody a legend.
Everything great,
motherfucker, successful one time. You the best to ever do it. No, he's not.
Not.
It's not close. But with guys like this who are in year 7 through 10 in their careers and shit like that, they've shown you the consistency where it's like, okay, all right, like I could see that. Like you've done this for an extended. It's kind of like with the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame when they be like, one of the barometers that every voter really uses is like, did you dominate for a decade? Like 10 years is a long fucking time, especially in sports. And if you could be elite at whatever you're doing for 10 years, that's saying a lot about you as a player and as a person. So I think we are at that point where a lot of the guys that we were growing up with who came into the game when we were in high school, I know Joker's a little younger, so is Embiid, but they came into the game when we was in high school, when we was in college. Because shit, you look up now, nigga, we went to school in 07. We've been out of college over a decade. Like,
we've been out of college. We've been out of high school 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's one of those situations where it's like, nah, now you can start. You actually start saying this person is a legend. This person's
KD
one of
was
the
coming out
greatest
of
to ever do
Texas
it.
when we graduated high school.
Yep, yep.
KD was coming out of Texas, and like you were just saying, like I was watching the Warriors Wolves game last night, and Clay was going crazy by the way. I love to see. I'm glad Clay is back. I'm really enjoying watching Clay be Clay again. And it was like Clay Thompson still leading his 13th year. And it's like, damn, Clay has been in the league that damn long.
A
Like
long time, bro.
Clay
He missed two
is a
years,
veteran.
but
He
yeah,
missed 2 years, but he's a veteran. Like Steph, year 14, KD, year 15. Prime example. They got the trade that we're gonna get to that in a minute, but they asked Mikal Bridges. Not I fuck on Mikal Bridges. He kept the G. He was like, "Who was your favorite player growing up?" He started laughing. He was like, "KD." Like, the man he got traded for was a guy he watched growing up. Like
yeah.
these guys have been there, and I'm give LeBron some love. We got to ring the hood. I'm gonna give him some love. Give him some love here.
We got to bring the Stephen A. Bell.
You got to bring the statement.
LeBron.
I'm gonna give him some love. Like, of course, my goat is Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the rightful goat. But if somebody tells me LeBron is the goat, I don't argue with it anymore. Just for the simple fact that if you believe that, fine. You're not saying an egregious statement. This guy has been on top of the game for 20 years, and one thing that he will always have in this debate, in any type of GOAT debate, no niggas done it longer than me, better than me. You know what I'm saying? When Kareem
Yeah.
was in his 20th year, he was averaging like 12 points. So he's not doing this. Mike wasn't doing this shit at this age. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mike was pretty good for 40 years old, but he wasn't doing what LeBron is doing right now. So you got to give love to these people who are actually doing it. So LeBron has a standard of excellence for doing it too long. And even though these guys like Embiid and Jokic, I don't even think they've been in the league a decade yet, they've been so dominant that I think it's fair to put them with these Giants. Like, I would put them over Alonzo Mourning. Shit, I would put them niggas over Patrick Ewing. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
at this
saying? I
point.
love Pat. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only definitive centers that I would put over them, obviously, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, and if you view Tim Duncan as a center, he can play center too, TD. After
And
that,
Bill,
Bill Russell.
Bill,
Yeah, I don't want to be
yeah,
disrespectful. Bill Russell, for sure.
yeah.
Then they're right there.
I know Shaq. If Shaq ever heard this, he wouldn't
Oh,
like
and
it. But
Dwight Howard.
no, not even talking about that. I was about to say you can keep George Mikan off the fucking list.
Oh, yeah, George Michael should be on. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't care about the
Look,
Mikan
man.
drill, none of that shit. The
Look,
game is
man.
evolved.
Look, man. The only old school white boys I'm putting in a top 100. They're not top. Is like Bob Cousy, them niggas. Like
Yeah,
Bob Cousy was Kyrie in the 60s, but like George Mikan, get the fuck out of here. But like,
Pistol Pete was taking 62 shots a game. I'm not trying to hear that.
yeah,
Like,
Dwight is in there. Dwight is a lot of disrespect. Dwight should. I'm still mad that Anthony Davis is a top 75 player and Dame Lillard is top 75, but Dwight Howard is. Like, what are we
yeah,
doing?
that was
I
pure
love Dame.
politics. That
Well,
was
get the
pure
fuck out of it.
politics.
Pure
Yeah.
politics. But we're going a little long-winded here. But let's move on to the next topic, man. Another massive trade that happened over the last couple weeks. Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns, man. A massive deal that sent Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and a bunch of picks to Brooklyn. KD has been a Sun for 2 weeks and he's yet to make his debut, but all signs point to him making his debut Wednesday night against LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. The Suns have actually been playing pretty good since since they got since they found out about the trade. They've actually been playing pretty well because they have been once Book and CP3 were hurt, they haven't fallen a little bit. They're back up to the number 4 seed in the Western Conference. They got a half game lead on the Clippers of 33-29. What's your realistic expectations for the Suns? Do you think it's championship or bust already?
Yes, absolutely. You don't make this move unless you're trying to get a championship. Like, Chris Paul's on his final legs, and this is a move that, especially with Kevin just re-upping in Brooklyn, you have your future set. You re-upped on Book, you re-upped on KD. Like, obviously, it's not a simple task to replace. What's his Chris Paul?
Chris Paul. What's his
Yeah,
face? Cliff Paul.
Cliff, but no, it's not an easy task, but you have options. So I think with this one, it's one of those situations where if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I'm looking to get Chris Paul a championship so he can ride off into the sunset and then I can get him off my book. Is he up after this year?
No,
Did he sign a 1 year deal?
No, he does. You talking about Chris Paul?
Yeah, he has 1 year left,
No,
right? Or
I think he got a couple more years up. He has no more guaranteed money after this year.
okay. So at this point, bro, I would say, hey, Chris,
Yeah.
when you win this ring, nigga, go home. We're
Yeah.
gonna try to sign. We're gonna try to sign Kyrie or somebody like that. But either
And
way,
Kyrie did leave the door open for that. And
either way,
yeah,
Phoenix. If I'm them, this is a championship move. It's no other way around it. You're not doing this to go to the fucking Western Conference Finals again.
no,
You did that. You did that already.
yeah. That's not even that. You went to the finals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, see,
you
I'm
went
tripping.
to
Yeah,
the
you went to the
finals.
final, got smoked, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Giannis put up one of the best NBA Finals clinch games I've never seen in
yeah,
my damn life.
yeah. Cliff
Yeah.
forgot how to play basketball, but
Clifford for no D Book did too. His Adam Sandler dressing ass, then he didn't forgot too. Um, I'm with you. And a quick thing on the Kyrie thing. I know a lot of Laker fans want Kyrie, but you do know you pretty much closed that door when you traded Russell Westbrook because you got to eat that cap. So, and Kyrie wants a full contract. So
yeah,
something that you better enjoy D'Angelo Russell. But yeah, I agree in theory that this is championship or bust move. But for this particular year, now, if they lose, yeah, they still get some shit. They're gonna get killed, they lose. But it's only 20 something games. You still gotta get your chemistry. And one thing we've seen, it takes a longer time to get chemistry, and that's not an excuse or anything. I do think if they don't at least make the finals, it is a failure this year. And I don't think it'll be too hard to have a guy like KD just come in right away. He knows how to play with guys who have the ball a long time. He won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, the media got to stop acting like, oh, KD has to win. KD is a 2-time Finals MVP. Okay, let's put some fucking respect on his name. Like this isn't something where his legacy is set. The minute he is going to, they need to put that nigga in Springfield the day he's actually up on the finalist list. Like
yeah.
he's in there.
Yeah, a lot of the shit that they do is just
It's
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 recency
stupid morning
bias.
morning
Yeah.
champion morning talk show behavior.
That
But
Monday morning QB shit, bro. Like
yeah,
it's
man,
bullshit.
he's a 2-time Finals MVP. He's a league MVP. Put some respect on KD name. But to me, the thing that's going to take them to actually win the championship, DeAndre Ayton has to be DeAndre Ayton. So it means they got to get this man the ball, and he's got to be aggressive. They got out rebounded against Milwaukee, and that was without Giannis. So he's got to step up if you're gonna beat the Denver Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? You got the big man you got to deal with out there for to get out west. They're gonna have to do that. And more anything, they got to stay healthy. I think that's the number one thing over these next couple weeks and through the playoffs. Your 3 main players now have had major injuries. I feel like KD gets hurt at the same time every year now since he come back from that Achilles. You look at Paul. I mean, you look at Chris Paul. He pulled his fucking hamstring, and
Man.
D Book has had some growing issues lately. So if they can stay healthy, they'll be right in the mix. And I do think they're probably going to finish with like a number 3 seed. And I give credit to Sacramento fighting the Wolves off right now. But it's going to be a long ass 5 weeks for them niggas. Because I do feel like the Clippers and the Suns are coming for that number 3 seed, man. But speaking of the Clippers, moving on, the Clippers picked up Russell Westbrook on the waiver wires. He's actually played pretty well in the last 2 games. They are 0-2 in these games, but I actually have a positive take for the Clippers. I've covered this team all season. I'm not worried about them, even though they lost these last 2 games. And the reason
Yeah.
I say that is because I really like what Russell Westbrook brings to the team. I know there's a lot of Laker fans who are rooting for him to fail, which I don't understand. Because Russ was not great in LA, but like we said since trade happened, it just wasn't a bad fit. I don't believe Russ is a bad player. It was a bad fit. I actually feel like Russ fits better with the new additions they brought to the Lakers now than before. So I think he adds, but the biggest thing for the Clippers to me, Ty Lue got to stop getting out his damn way. Like he's got so much depth now that I feel like he doesn't know how to use it. There's no reason why Eric Gordon should have played damn near all the fourth quarter and all the overtime against Denver when you got T-Man out there and the way Russ was playing. So I think they'll be fine. I think they're going to be a tough out, and I do think they'll be a top 4 seed. What do you think Russ brings to the Clippers?
I think he brings that veteran experience. And, they were having point guard issues outside of T-Man, and I do think it's kind of foul, like you said, for T-Man to, have his minutes cut significantly by somebody they just picked up on the waiver wire when he's proven to you that he can be, a valuable asset. I know we talked about Eric Gordon in the time he was getting this shit, but like you said, just focusing on Russ. I think it's an opportunity for him to continue to prove that, despite what people may not like about my game, he is a valuable asset to a contender. Like he was averaging what 17, 5 and 5 on the bench or something like that with the Lakers. Like, he was actually a very solid. He had cut his turnovers. Like he had adjusted to the role, and despite the fact that he was getting the short end of the stick, was really contributing. So I think for the Clippers, when you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard, you got the depth that they have, adding a guy like Russ, that's that energy that we always talk about, that we know championship teams need. So for me, I'm hoping, like, I think it's definitely a bonus, it's definitely a benefit, and it's something where with Russ, this could really help propel the Clippers into finally getting into that stratosphere that we've always talked about with the Clippers since they made these Kawhi and Paul George deals. Like, this is a team that should be in the Western Conference Finals or the finals every year. Like, they have that type of talent.
I agree 100%. We're going to do rapid fire these next couple topics, and then we got this little segment that we're going to do rapid fire called playoff play in or fuck out of here. We're going to be ranking the fringe playoff teams, but we're going to give our quick thoughts on these topics here, man. Luka and Kyrie blew a 27-point lead on Sunday.
That was ugly. That was ugly.
Terrible loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 3-4 in the 7 games since Kyrie has been a Maverick. Kyrie has only missed one of those games. My personal take on it is, first of all, a lot of people are like, should they regret the deal? No. If you're Dallas, you don't get free agents. You got to go out there and make that kind of move. I'm not mad at it. I still think that it can help come playoff time, but they've got to get Kyrie Irving involved. They had this nigga in the corner like he's a spot-up shooter against the Lakers. He's got to be more involved in the offense, and I think that's a Jason Kidd issue, and it's also a Luka issue. Luka, you wanted more talent. Get the talent the ball. They brought Kyrie in, so you don't have to go 1-on-5. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Kyrie's been too timid too because he notices Luka team and he doesn't want to get in the way. There needs to be some kind of come to Jesus meeting they need to have to get this offense working because they already can't play defense. And that was very evident by that big ass lead they blew. But they need to find a way to make this 2-man offensive tandem work.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And I think it's really, like you said, real rapid fire. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. I think Luka has to trust Kyrie and understand that is an NBA champion that he's playing with. That's somebody who is one of the elite players in this league, and he doesn't have to do everything himself anymore. Yeah. And I think that also comes with coaching. I think J. Kidd will get him involved and, really get Luka to understand that, we now have 2 dynamic playmakers, 2 elite players as opposed to 1, and you don't have to do everything yourself.
Yep, definitely. Now this one is closer to your borough out there in Atlanta. Nate McMillan just got fired. Quinn Snyder has been hired. He signed a 5-year deal, and he will be having a bigger role with the Falcons. Now, he's not general manager of nothing. Of course, that's Landry Fields, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Landry Fields.
And I think my man Kyle Korver's assistant GM, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But he will have a lot of influence on roster decisions. He just signed a 5-year deal, and he should be debuting on Tuesday. They have won 2 in a row since Nate McMillan's been fired. My question to you is: Mr. Trae Young a coach killer?
He's treading on Coach Killer territory real quick, and I think that what you noticed, whether it would be Lloyd, and then now with Nate, he doesn't mesh well with old school coaches. Like a lot of these young players who've been, I don't know that personally, so I ain't gonna say he's been. Yeah, that was the word I was about to use. But when you're used to just, if you don't like someone, okay, I'm gonna complain, and we're gonna get a new coach in here. And like the Hawks ownership is really setting a bad precedent. Because if you heard him with John Collins, what he said, I thought this was interesting. He said, I think that mentality would have worked for an older team, a team that was really ready. He said, we need somebody a veteran team. So that just shows you where they are mentally. You got a lot of young players, a lot of guys who, think they the guy, like especially with Trae, even though, like, let's kill the Steph Curry comparison. Trae can't shoot threes. Stop it. Like, cut it the fuck out.
I'm so glad you said that. That nigga cannot shoot threes.
Like, it's awful. He's a volume scorer, and that's okay. Like, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, he's definitely treading on Coach Killer territory. So I think with Snyder, it's gonna be interesting because they've given Snyder a lot of power. So Trae's not gonna be able to run him off. He's not.
No. He's here to stay. He's here for the long haul. I'm with you. I said on Twitter when the firing happened, I put Trae Young, Coach Killer, and all 10 Atlanta Hawks fans got mad at me. But the fact of the matter is, maybe I was a little premature calling him Coach Killer, but he's definitely driving down Coach Killer Boulevard. Like, this one's got to work out. This one's got to work out, and it's setting up a big offseason for them because in general, remember when they got Murray this offseason. A lot of people thought they're gonna be better than they were. Now, me and you both
Yep.
was like, it's piped down when the trade happened. But a lot of people thought they're gonna be better than they were. I'm pretty sure ownership thought they're gonna be better. That's why they put all the chips in to get him. These last 20 games, and if they have a playoff run, got to show us something. You know what I'm saying? If not, there's gonna be some big roster moves going to happen because Quinn Snyder has had playoff success with the Utah Jazz. He's had more success there, and I think that if he can't listen to this coach, then he's not going to be looked at. Well, really, honestly, the only Hawks fans look at him a certain way. Nobody else. I know Hawks fans got mad at me when I said, Luka and Trey are not the same, no matter how much you want to act like they are. I mean, there's a difference between 300C and a Phantom.
Yeah, no, I'll say this: they reality started to set in. At first when our RP to take off, but like when the Migos was really, of course, every game, and then the ice tray shit was rocking. He for the culture, he for the city. Not
when he bodied the Knicks
in there. Yeah, like okay, it's okay, Trey. Like you're not Luka.
You're not big Luka. It's fine. It's fine,
it's okay.
bro.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong. He's a good player, but he's not great. Last topic before we go to playoff player and fuck out of here. The New York Knickerbockers, man. The Knicks right now are the number 5 seed in the league. They're number 6 seed, but they're inching close to the 5 seed. I think they will pass Brooklyn up. They're playing really well. Jalen Brunson has been averaging 28 points a game since January 1st. Julius Randle's been playing well. The Josh Hart trade has been great. They've really been playing well, even though I hate the fact they treat my man Derrick Rose like he's a human victory cigar. A special place in hell for tips for that shit because D Rose can actually play. But D Rose must really love living in New York because they asked him, did he want to buy out? And he said no. So I guess he really does love living in New York City.
I mean, I think at this point, bro, as rich as that man is, like everything he's been through, like I know we as fans be like, oh, well, he just need a championship for the
I don't think he is a shit.
He don't give a fuck. I think at this point, bro, it's just so because you saw how much he, every year is just rehab after rehab after rehab. He good. He's like, it's okay. I'm gonna just be here, the veteran mentor to these kids. But I will say this: anytime you got two players that can give you 30, it's a possibility. Like,
the question was I didn't say it, but it was on the rundown. But can the Knicks upset the top 4 East End?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay,
when you say top 4, I would say yes because I think Philadelphia, like you said, I don't know if James Harden is going to be focused on the game or the party with Lil Baby afterwards. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to get from him. So I think they can knock off Philly. So that's a possibility. Who's the 4 seed?
They can knock off Cleveland too, I think.
Yeah, Cleveland's still a young team. They can knock off
Cleveland. Cleveland's a young team. One thing I've noticed about Cleveland is a lot of nights is Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell a bust. I've noticed that about that team. I do think they play a nice competitive team brand of basketball. And Jalen Brunson, like outside of Dame, he's been playing better than any guard in the NBA since the year his turn in 2023. Like he has been hooping. I got to give it credit. That was actually a really good signing by them. I like Brent Grimes. I like Emmanuel Quickly has been good. Mm-hmm. And as much as I hate the Knicks, the Garden during playoff times is just special. It's very special. And by the way, if you're listening, this nigga is pouring another glass. This is like glass 4 of Henny White since we've been recording these. We're going to wrap this up very soon. This nigga is going to be passed out on that couch in a minute. But, the Garden is a special place, and I do feel like they will have the upper edge on a couple of them teams. Like you said, they could beat Philly. Beat Philly. So I really think they could have a chance to beat Philly or Cleveland. If it is a 4-5 matchup or something like that, and they play Brooklyn, they can do that. I just don't think they can touch obviously Boston and Milwaukee. But I actually like what the Knicks are doing, and even long term, you can say this is not a championship team, true, but they have the assets to jump on the next disgruntled player when that eventually happens. Because I do believe that Embiid trade request is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. So you teams better be prepared.
No, absolutely. And I think with the Knicks, like, I've also grown out of the whole, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I used to be really, really heavy on the fuck the Knicks thing. As Bulls fans. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll never root for the Knicks, but with the Tibbs connection, I've always liked Julius Randle. I have my issues with him, but I do think he could hoop. I wish he's on my Carlos Boozer list. Where I wish he was 3 inches taller, like
Yeah,
one of those type of niggas.
yeah.
But with Brunson, with RJ Barrett, what I'm saying, like this, and like I said again, Tibbs, it's a team that could make some noise. Like we're not saying championship, but they can get out the first round.
They
I
can
think
get
they
out
could
the
definitely
first
get out the
round.
first round.
They can get out the first round. And for the first time, they have a go-to guy in the fourth quarter, which I really feel like they haven't had since Melo. So I feel like that'd be something to help them out. Now, we're going to wrap this up with playoff, play-in, or fuck out of here. We're going to rank these fringe teams. I got 6 teams in the East, 6 teams in the West, and we're not going to get no real heavy description. You can give a description if you want. But I'm going to name, if you think they're a playoff team, you say playoff. If you think you're a play-in team, say playing. If they're not making either one, just say fuck out of here. We're going to start with the East. The Miami Heat.
Play in.
I'm gonna say play-in too. I think they stay there. They are currently blowing a lead against the Sixers, so I'm gonna say play-in. I'm gonna say play-in.
Yeah.
A team we just talked about, the Atlanta Hawks.
Fuck out of here. I think they are going
Oh, you
to.
got them missing the whole thing.
I think they're going to crumble. I do.
Okay.
I'm not a really big fan of the Hawks. I'm not. I'm sorry. I try to watch the Hawks. But I don't like turn this shit off. Like I don't want to see this.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a big Hawk guy. I'm really not a Trae Young fan at all. But I think they'll have enough to at least be a play-in team. So I'll have them a play-in. The Toronto Raptors.
See, I like in today's NBA. I like to I tend to lean on teams with like the lanky, versatile wings to at least make the play in. Like
Pascal Siakams.
we know the Raptors ain't gonna win this shit. Like Kawhi ain't walking through that door.
No, he's
but where? Let me see. Where are they currently?
They are number 8 seed.
Playing. I'm gonna stick them in the play-in. I'm gonna say play-in.
Yeah, I'm gonna say play-in. So that means I got 3 play-in teams right now. I'm gonna say play-in for the Raptors. Washington Wizards.
Fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here with them too. Exactly.
Yeah.
Our Chicago Bulls, the new 2-0 Pat Beverly, Chicago Bulls.
All right, I'm gonna be a fake Bulls fan for like 36 seconds. Number 1 defense since January. Pat Bev sparking new energy into the team. He said what I did like that he said he's gonna get on Zach's ass because that's one thing that we all know. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Zach, but it's like you a max player, play like it. Like, fuck the bullshit. Like, that's your team. I understand DeMar at this point feels like a natural leader, and they just gravitate toward DeMar. But it's like this is supposed to be your team.
Debo too cool for school to be a leader.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where like the cool people is usually who you gravitate towards. So it's like
Debo your cool cousin. Like he gonna tell you wild now, but he ain't gonna get on your ass like that.
Yeah, he gonna be like, all right, nigga, don't do that. But he gonna keep it moving. Like you could do what you want to do. But with the Bulls, they are currently at the 11th seed. I put the Wizards out, so I'm gonna say the Bulls gonna make it. I say the Bulls gonna make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Bulls gonna make it too. They're half game out. That was a big win against Washington because now the Washington, I think they have the tiebreaker on Washington. And then they've got the easiest schedule left in basketball. Which of course it doesn't say much. They'd be losing to these niggas, but I think that they will make it. Just because the front office has made an emphasis on you niggas better make the play-in. And I really like the Patrick Beverly signing. I've always been a Pat Bev fan. Not just because he's a Chicago guy. I've been battling on the Pat Bev front lines for years. Like everybody took a little cool Russ quote, and I'm like, no, this nigga can really play defense. But not only does he bring defensively to this team, he brings a leadership role. And there's even the small things, and he's only in this very small 2-game sample. Zach has been playing better since he's been there. He's been vocal leader. I've seen segments where Pat might be tripping. Like even after they won the game, he brings Pat Williams to the corner. He's talking to him. And, it's that little small things like that. And I feel like it makes the bench better because now you've got 2 defensive stalwarts on your team and in your starting lineup in Pat Beverly and Alex Caruso, which frees up Zach and DeMar and Vooch to do their thing. He gives them the ball. He's been giving the ball to Vooch in the post. And you have Pat coming off the bench, Patrick Williams, and that makes them a better offensive team. So I do think they'll be in a play-in game. They might even host a play-in game. Now, I don't think they're going to do much besides that, but I do think they'll make the play-in game. So.
And I know we're doing rapid fire and we got to keep going. But once again, I do not like my number 4 overall pick coming off the bench, but it is what it is. Y'all got that. Y'all got it.
It is what it is. It is. I think Patrick Williams had a solid year, but I'm gonna, I've been.
He actually played like Trevor Ariza, He actually played like Trevor Ariza this year, so I'm gonna give him a little credit. You know, he but look 12 points, play a little defense. Okay, all right.
You little defense, nigga.
Little lock up here and there.
You know how I grew up like, yeah, I listen to a little podcast. It's like, yeah, he playing a little defense.
He
You know
scored a
what I'm
couple
saying?
points. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly. The Indiana Pacers. Fuck out of here.
I got them going in because I put
You
the
had
Hawks
that's your
out.
fourth one? Okay.
Yeah, that's my fourth one right there. I got the Pacers. I do
Because you
think
got
they
the
get
Hawks out. Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I got the Heat, the Raptors.
And I really and I like Halliburton a lot.
I like Halliburton too, but I think that 6 weeks he was out killed him. I'm gonna go Heat, Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls. Now we go to the West. Golden State Warriors.
It's funny because like I be talking shit to my homie who's a Warrior fan, and like once Steph went down, like y'all done, right? But I do think that they'll hang on to make the play in. I think they'll make the play in.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. Not only am I going to play off, when 100% healthy, when Steph gets back, Draymond is back on Wednesday. Andrew Wiggins should be coming back from his personal thing he has. They have a great coach in Steve Kerr. Hey man, and the way Cleveland hooping, not only do I have them in the playoffs, I think this team's still going to West Conference Finals.
Wow, that's a lot.
And third seed, they can't beat. If they say they get the 6th seed, they can't beat Sacramento.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm gonna say the same thing about the Warriors that I said about the Lakers. If they're in a play-in game, them niggas can lose.
Oh yeah,
in a 7-game series. I'm just saying, I would want to play them niggas. I'm gonna say playoff.
That's the beauty of a single game elimination, bro. Like you could legit go to fuck home.
The one good thing that Adam Silver has done was implement the play-in tournament. We wouldn't give a fuck about half of these games if there wasn't a play-in tournament. You got the fucking Spurs that lost 17-year-old Popovich trying to learn French because he's hoping he'll get Wembanyama. But that's one of the few things. But I'm gonna say Warriors playoff, man. Let's go to my son, Larry Marketing, in the Utah Jazz. Playoff play-in or fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. I think they've had a good run. You know, I think at the end of the day, Danny Ainge's gonna put that call in. Like, hey, y'all know we got all these draft picks, right? Like, tone it down. Tone it down. We need to start losing some more. But no, I think this was just a really good development year for the Utah Jazz. You know, you see Laurie he not has all-star potential. He is an all-star. I think he's finally starting to live up to his draft profile when he was coming out of Arizona. So you got somebody to build around. You still got Mike Conley as a vet, you know, somebody who you bring somebody else in there to, you know, coach them up and get them into that. So I think maybe, you know, in a couple years, the Jazz will be able to make some noise again. But for right now, I think they're going to fade off at the end. So I got them, you know, fuck out of here.
I'm going to say something controversial with these next couple picks.
Okay.
I'm going to have the Jazz's play in. Now, the reason I'm going to have a Jazz's play in is because I'm just going to skip to this next team, even though just because it's going to move it to my point. I've got the Pelicans as fuck out of here because they have been playing hot ass without Zion. There's only a couple weeks left. We have not heard anything besides Zion had a setback, so we don't know when this nigga's coming back. I think that they're going to fall out of the play-in. So I'm going to give the fuck out of here to the Pelicans and the play-in to the Jazz just because I don't know when Zion's coming back.
That's valid. I think the Pelicans, like you said, the health is a major issue. You know, they missed BI for a lot of the season.
Yep.
CJ McCollum's been fucking hooping, but at the end of the day, that team rises and falls with Zion. And if you can't, you know, if he's not on the court, I'm with you. I definitely had I got the Pelicans as fuck out of here as well, but for that very reason, just the injuries. Like, we talked about it, you know, as it was coming up, and we were hoping we were going to be wrong, but with Zion being so explosive and athletic, like these little nagging leg injuries, this shit is not going to stop.
It's always his hamstring.
It's always because I mean he's a big, like he's Sean Kemp on steroids essentially, bro. Man. Like then weak ass South Carolina fist got to stop. But I mean,
he be dressing like Marvin from Raising Kanan,
bro. That shit be funny as hell, and he be randomly kicking it with Southwest T and shit. I'm like,
yeah, he do.
I'm like, okay, Zion, all right, bro. Like, okay.
Was you even born when BMF was running shit?
Hell no. That nigga was born in like 2000 or some
That
shit.
nigga was born when T and Meech was on the run from the feds.
Bro, that shit is crazy. But
That's
no, I
funny
think
as shit.
the injuries are gonna hold them out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Minnesota Timberwolves.
Playing. I think even though that the whole Rudy Gobert
Worst
trade
trade
kind
in
of
NBA history.
it really fucked the market up. You gave
Worst
up all
trade in
those
NBA
first.
history.
That shit looks so bad.
Yeah,
Like in
it's terrible,
hindsight.
man.
But I think Anthony Edwards, you got enough talent on that roster to where
Yeah,
they'll make the plan.
yeah. I say playing for them, man. I believe my man Ant.
When Cat come back? When
Who
Cat hurt?
fucking knows? Yeah, I think he's done for the year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Cat coming back. Los Angeles Lakers now. News dropped today. LeBron James is gonna miss the next couple weeks. He fucked that.
Plot twist.
He fucked that ankle up. And he said that. Let me say, I heard something pop, and he played through the rest of the game. Like I tweeted yesterday, that was 100% adrenaline. He left the arena. He's walking like Fred Sanford, and he already had a problem with the ankle prior to that. He missed a couple games after he broke Kareem's record. Play in, play off, or fuck out of here for the Lakers. It's a tough one.
It's very tough.
Because with no LeBron, now you got to rely on
Yeah.
Anthony Davis' ass.
I got one spot left, and Anthony Davis is one sneeze away from motherfucking being out for 2 weeks. So, I hate to say, I'm gonna say Lakers. I'm gonna say fuck out of here. I don't think without LeBron, like even though I told all my homies, like man, with everything great he's done, this ain't the same LeBron. He doesn't impose his will the way he used to. Like he'll give it to you in spurts, but there were certain games when LeBron was in his prime where it was like from opening tip, it's like, okay, this is LeBron's game. Like he's setting the pace, he's fucking out there playing chess, putting people where he wants them. You do this, you do that. But now with the lack of talent, even though I will say this, I gotta give I shit on him all the time. I gotta tip my cap to Rob Pelinka because he really did well at the trade deadline. Yeah. He reshuffled that roster and put some pieces in there that really worked for that team. But I think with Bron out and AD, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get. So I'm saying fuck out of here.
I'm going to say play in only because I don't believe in Oklahoma City Thunder to take one of these spots. It's going to be very hard, especially without LeBron. They got the second toughest schedule left. But I just don't believe in OKC. So, and in my fourth spot is going to go to the Blazers. I'm putting them as play in. So I'm going to say Lakers play in, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that. And this LeBron injury might have been the kiss of death.
Yeah, I agree. I go play Blazers play in as well. Damn it get you to the playoffs. They ain't gonna win shit.
He ain't gonna win shit when he get there, but he get you there.
Yeah. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, man, and that's all we got for y'all. Episode 171. We will be rocking with y'all every week throughout the NBA Finals now. So there will be no more breaks from us. We will be here. To follow us on Twitter at Barberchair Scott at OctoberZoneTay. We're gonna let Dante get back to his drinking. And chill and enjoy the rest of his night. You can subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network, man. We've got new summer sessions dropping this week. We got some of the guys up right now. So check all that shit out. Visit thebcnet.com. We'll holler at y'all next week, man. Y'all have a good week.